Thanks for joining us. And in our very first story, our President John Dramani Mahama has granted amnesty to 900 convicted prisoners across the country. Now, the move is to mark this year's Republic Day, which falls on Wednesday, July 1. According to a statement from the Ministry of Interior, the grant was done based on ill health, advanced age, and satisfactory conduct from the prisoners over the period of incarceration. Now, here's a breakdown of the category of prisoners freed under the presidential pardon. 883 first offenders of good behavior who've served for more than half of their sentences as of July 1, 2015. One prisoner who is old and one prisoner who is very ill. 14 prisoners who were on death row and have served at least 10 years have had their sentences commuted to life. And finally, one prisoner sentenced to life imprisonment who had served 10 years has had his sentence commuted to a definite term of 20 years. So those were the details of the president's pardon. But how prepared is society for the integration of these freed prisoners? And how safe or guaranteed is society in the company of these ex-convicts? With me in studio is the Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Prison Service, Vital Ezai, with some responses. And thank you so much for joining us, sir. So can you tell us much more about the reintegration process?
And good morning to your cherished viewers. It's the prerogative of the President to grant amnesty to prisoners as and when he deems fit. And sometimes he does this to mark occasions. And this is one of the times to mark the Republic Day celebrations tomorrow. And he's granted amnesty to categories of prisoners, as you said earlier, and 900 of them. Yes, reintegration of prisoners is ongoing. Maybe look at the categories. A chunk of them are first-time offenders, and they've done 1/3 of their sentence. So it means that these people would have gone through some reformatory works inside the prisons. And it is not everybody that qualifies to enjoy this amnesty, even though you might be a first-timer. Okay. So these are minor offenders, people who have offended in minor ways. So armed robbers are not qualified, rapists are not qualified, people who have used weapon, terrorists, people who have tried anything that is subversion, they are not qualified. So these are probably petty thieves that are benefiting from this thing. And society is supposed to welcome them back.
I see. Before we delve into it a bit deeper, let's look at when exactly these 900 people are supposed to be out on the streets.
When?
When exactly are they supposed to be out?
With the paperwork done, they're supposed to be out by tomorrow. But it will take some time because we have just gotten the release this morning, and the prison authorities will have to also cross-check, verify. For all you know, some are already out there because they might have served their sentence. That is what happens. So we might not get all the 900 inside prison as we speak. Some of them might have gained their freedom before the 1st of this month, depending on the categorization of the prisoners. Yes.
Okay, so now let's talk about the reintegration process and how prepared people are to receive these ex-convicts.
That now depends largely on society. As we said, some of these people in there don't have anywhere to go, or they have people who are not prepared to welcome them. But the issue is, as a nation, we need to work at that. These people are coming back, they have families. The mindset that they are not welcome is not good. But many family members will welcome this because they are not hardened criminals. They didn't use gun, they didn't use weapon. So reintegration is not for us to do, it's for the family to accept them, it's for society to help get them reintegrated. But they have homes and they're going to.
But I think concerns raised by people about these ex-convicts coming back home are misplaced?
No, not misplaced, but not entirely correct, because this is not the first time it has happened. Probably we'll find 1 or 2 of them back in prison, but a large number of them don't go back to prison, because this is what everybody's looking for. Maybe I was accused falsely. For the first time, I've been granted amnesty. What will take me back to prison? I had my business doing. Somebody owed me. We had a fracas. And then I was reported. I get out, I won't go back. So majority of these people who benefit from amnesty, a lot of work is done on them, not only with the prison service. The CID is involved, BNI is involved. Even those who are not well, a medical team is composed to ensure that the right people are sent out there. So this is not a threat at all to society, per what the president has done.
You've mentioned that the reintegration process solely depends on society and the various families of these people. But what role is your
not solely on society.
Okay.
We have done our part of reintegrating them. Don't forget when they come, their needs are assessed, needs assessment. We have psychologists, we have sociologists in there. We have areas of reconstructing their lives for them in education, vocational skills. So we give them tools to go out and work with. The aspect that society needs, we expect society to have, is giving them a shoulder to lean on, taking off the stigma from them that, yes, they've been to prison and nothing is good about them. No, that is where I'm talking about. But as a service, we have ways of imparting knowledge, skills, vocational training, education into them. And that's what they've been holding as they're going back home.
So we'll take it as you've been trying your best to give them some skills while in prison. But we know you are, your outfits.
Yes.
You do not have the necessary resources to carry out all these things.
That is very true.
In fact, even for food, it's sometimes a problem. So I'm just trying to wrap my mind around how you're able to get all these 900 people with skills.
Don't forget they're not at one place. It's across the country. So the 900 are not only all at Nsawam. Some are in Kumasi, some are in Tamale, some are in Navrongo. So every prison has something doing with inmates who are there. They're just not sitting folding their hands. We are constrained, that is true, but we have ways of handling some of these people who come into our prisons. That is true. And that is where I'll chip in. The project that's supposed to be launched today,
okay,
that we need to support it, because we've always said that those who go to prison will not remain there. They'll come back anyway. How do we prepare them to come back and be useful citizens? This is what Project Efiase is to address today and from today onwards. So we're appealing to everybody in Ghana, all concerned, that the prison is part of us and we need to work on it. If we want them to come back safe, let's turn our attention towards the prison service so that we can have inputs, we can have resources. When you come, where you are lacking, we add it up. You go back there, like you just left secondary school with a diploma certificate, with a degree certificate, and you can acquire a job. They don't become a bother to society. That is the appeal.
All right, Mr. Ayi, thank you very much. Vitalis Ayi is the Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Prisons Service there, and he's been telling us much more about the situation that is currently going on. I'm talking about the President granting amnesty to some 900 prisoners. But the move has actually been much anticipated, as prison officers have constantly pleaded for amnesty on behalf of some of the inmates following prevailing conditions at the cells.
Amnesty conditions also are laid out. You should have spent a certain period of time in custody. You should also have shown, like you rightly put it, that you have the propensity to reform. You should also have shown that you have that kind of support in the society, which will make sure that you'll be well anchored and you will return back to prison. That's what okay.
Well, the prisoners have also been pleading with the state to pardon them. Let's hear one of them.
When a prisoner comes out and you recoil, you reject the prisoner, he's a human being. You understand? You are sending him back to his dark days. So the message we have...
As Bible-believing Christians,
that's right,
our masters can testify.
Thank you.
I'm not speaking like in a hideout. I'm speaking for them also to hear. If I'm saying the wrong thing, they will come in to maybe address it. But I'm speaking the truth.
Thank you.
We want His Excellency John Mama to draw closer, bring his ears down, and listen to our officers, so that if they will be given the opportunity to recommend, some of us will not be here. For example, since 1997, I have not written any white paper like Nyako have, or the Quariters have did this and that, and so lock up, we're locking this and that. We are trying our best, even though it's not easy, but law abiding for all these years. So our masters are doing their best, and some of us also are ready not to put them to shame. If society will give us the second chance the second chance, we are going to respect freedom, because freedom is very expensive. Now, society should see it this way, that people because even some asked us to change our name, because if the name is mentioned, hey, this house, no. So people don't want to be identified with us now. Meanwhile, the Lord have transformed most of us, and we are ready to go back to society. But those of us, like Ramsey is here, we are people that are playing role in society before they came here, and still they continue what they are doing. And the truth is that they are ready to go back, reform. They want to go back, reform. They are not just singing, because we have what we call eye service.
That's right.
When you come to prison, number one, eye service. You want officer to admire you. You want officer to like you. But these ones decide that no, because of heaven and hell.
Meanwhile, the prison authorities have been urging society to accept these convicts back to their homes on the news of their release.
When a prisoner comes out and you recoil, you reject the prisoner, he's a human being. You understand? You are sending him back to his dark days. So the message we have been sending out is that we have to embrace our brothers and sisters who have actually shown that they have repented from their old ways. And I hope the message will be taken up by people like you, for us to know that the fact that you have gone to prison doesn't mean you are the worst person. It's by the grace of God, most of us would have been in worse circumstances. But I want to say something. It is not everybody who is in prison today who has actually offended. Some of them were victims of circumstances, and they were not able to put their cases across well. They didn't have lawyers like you have spoken about, you see, or they may even be illiterate. They may not even understand the proceedings going on. But people like us may have trouble, and they will go for the best lawyers and get out scot-free. And I think it is precisely because of this that we have to understand that people can change, or it's not everybody who is coming out of prison who is bad.
President John Mahama has urged judges of the Supreme Court to be fair to all parties in their rulings. Now, this, according to him, will enhance public confidence in their work. Speaking at the swearing-in of 2 Supreme Court judges at the presidency yesterday, President Mahama said judgments from Ghana's courts must also be able to stand the test of time.
President John Mahama appointed Justice Yao Appel and Justice Gabriel Pwamang to the Supreme Court 2 weeks ago. They were vetted by Parliament's Appointment Committee and approved by Parliament last week. Prior to their appointment, Justice Yao Appel was the sole commissioner of the Judgment Desk Commission, whilst Gabriel Pwamang was a lawyer and managing partner at Pwamang and Associates and the Center of Public Interest Law. He urged them to give fair judgment to benefit all.
The strength of our democracy and the rule of law have been tested on numerous occasions by both citizens and non-citizens. The citizens of Ghana, the government of Ghana, the business community, and many others have very high expectations that the judgments of our highest court must instill confidence in litigants so that all parties to a case will be assured of a fair day in court. This can genuinely be guaranteed if we have unbiased judges who will determine cases without fear or favor.
President Mahama also urged them to give rulings which can stand the test of time and could also serve as point of reference by lower courts and help fight corruption.
A question we must always ask is whether our decisions will stand the test of history. Will the decisions of our Supreme Court of Ghana be followed by other common law jurisdictions or by international tribunals? These are important questions to ask. This can be achieved if our decisions are sound and have sufficient significance to influence decisions in other jurisdictions. This is a very important matter to which we must focus attention, because there have been landmark cases given in our courts that have been held to be contrary to international law. In other cases, international tribunals have refused to follow the decisions of our courts. This must engage the attention of legal researchers. The judiciary must be a committed partner in the fight against corruption.
On behalf of his colleague, Justice Yao Apel promised the president they will not disappoint him.
I wish to humbly state with all sincerity, Your Excellency, that we shall never disappoint you on the choice you made in settling on us when the need arose for you to fill the gap created upon the retirement of 2 distinguished members of the court. Rather, I wish to assure you, Your Excellency, that we shall discharge our duties with dedication, honesty, integrity, excellence, and zeal as required of us as justices of the highest court of the land, to make Your Excellency and the good people of Ghana proud.
Chief Justice Georgina Theodora Wood, Attorney General, and other members of the bench were at the ceremony.
We're taking a break here on News Desk. We'll return shortly with some more. Don't go away.